We've got 2 Power Rangers, 5 hosts, 1 supervillain. Joaquin Phoenix just became the biggest Joker of them all. Was it worth the hype or just pretentious, needless violence? This week we tackle DC's latest big screen film, and we bring you the top news out of New York Comic Con with 2 very special guests, our Power Rangers this week, Cameron Jebo and Ryan Carter. Stay tuned, guys.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's The Con Guy Comic Con Prep Show.
I think I should wash my hands now.
Yes,
I think you should.
I was going to say, that was the first thing I was going to say, Derek,
Gross.
please wash your hands.
That's so gross.
He stuck his hands in Jim's mouth to make us smile for you audio listeners.
Welcome to the Con Guy Show, guys.
We didn't have any
Jim's
theme music.
rabid, by the way.
It's all about hygiene. I know, no theme music this week because we have
That's okay.
so much to do this week. Anyways, my name is Jim. I'm your managing editor here on The Con Guy. Hopefully you guys are following us on theconguy.com, on social, all over the place. Where are we going to find everybody else?
You can find me right here. My name is Derek. I'm a contributing writer to theconguy.com, and I'm occasionally on Twitter at ConGuyDerek.
Hi, I'm Katie Christine. You can find me on both of the Twitters for all of these, for our things. And you can find me on the Batwoman After Show on AfterBuzz
Which is
TV.
fantastic.
Yeah, Bree and I just watched Batwoman pilot tonight.
I started it.
I think I liked it better than Bree did, to be honest. She was like, "Ooh, Batwoman," and then by the end of it, she was like, "Well, that was that," and I was like, "That was pretty fun." But usually shows take 3 or 4 episodes to really get good. I'm Ben Cleaver at BenKliewer on all your social media platforms and stuff.
And while we have Ben, we have a special presentation. Dun, dun,
No!
Ben
We finally
has
remembered
the
to bring
shirts.
your
Can you pass those down to me?
theconguy.com shirts.
There's one.
1 and 2. Yes.
Changing room, try them on right now.
I am pleased as punch. Is there a
There's
camera
your
in the
back.
changing room?
Yeah, you are all good. There's your music, Ben.
Yeah.
There you go. Since
So
you
you have
asked
one
for it.
Batman shirt,
Fashion
now another
show.
one.
By the way, if you guys don't know about it, you can catch Ben Cleaver this weekend at LA Comic Con. We're going to be talking about that in just a second. By the way, speaking of LA Comic Con, we have some really awesome guests with us tonight. On the couch we have...
Hey, I'm Cameron Jebo, former Power Ranger.
Once a Power Ranger.
Once a
always
Power
a
Ranger.
Power Ranger.
I knew somebody was going to say it, but yeah, we'll be at the Power Rangers panel this weekend at LA Comic Con.
Absolutely. And next to you...
Hey, I'm Ryan Carter. I was former villain, so Power Ranger attempted murderer. And yeah, no, it's nice to be here.
Well, you were an attempted murderer on the show?
Yeah, I mean, every villain on that show is like tries to kill them every week. It's
Yeah.
pretty grim, but fails.
All right.
Wow, how do you beat that? I'm just
You
Cheeseman
don't.
on the couch here with conguy.com.
Have you ever attempted to murder a Power Ranger? Well, then
I threw
get
cheese
out.
at him before.
And before we go any further, also engineering the show and keeping us on track tonight, the amazing Mr. Ryan Dilson in the booth.
In the booth, I've loved Power Rangers my whole life, and I'm honored to be producing a show with 2 on it.
All
Or
right.
1, I guess.
And you've never tried to kill one, right?
Only the toys, probably in my bedroom.
Yeah,
or
He's broken
I
a few
thought-
legs of them.
Let's see how the show goes.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and start. First of all, let me tell everybody what we're going to be doing tonight. We will be talking to our very special guest tonight. Then we're going to go into a little bit of LA Comic Con news, which is going on this weekend. We're going to tell you about the panel that Ben's going to be facilitating on behalf of the Con Guy this weekend. And then we're going to Derek's going to take us through some upcoming conventions. We got 3 minutes of news. And of course, all this is to prepare us for Joker, the big film that came out this past weekend and traumatized the nation on its way to so much money.
Pretty serious.
Cheeseman, if you can kind of introduce us to who's on the couch with you and kind of, well, we've already introduced everybody on the couch.
We just did.
Yeah, what are you doing? Quit,
What are you doing?
quit
Anyways.
lapping us.
Hello again.
Let's get to know who's on the couch with us this week. So, guys, if you can kind of tell us which years you guys were on the show.
Oh, I think I was on in 2015. Yes, it was 2015. that I
Dino
did it.
Charge?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a Dino Charge. So a bit of season like the 1, and then all of season Supercharge. Yeah.
They like
And
you
how
enough
did you
to bring
become
back.
part of the cast? What was your process of getting on the show?
Oh, the same way. Bunch of mediocre high kicks, some spinning, some saying lines, and then they're like, yeah, sure.
And then were you local when they were
I wasn't.
doing
I was
that?
living in Sydney at the time.
Okay.
I actually auditioned it. I was at like a really amazing resort when I had to do like a self-tape. So I looked real tan. So it really all worked in my favor. Yeah.
Nice.
Were you working at the resort?
No.
you were just hanging
I
out.
was just hanging out. And I had some
Nice.
little margaritas in a pool.
Those are my favorites because I'm an actor too. Just being like, hey, can you send in this self tape? And I'm like, well, I'm on vacation,
Yeah.
but
You're like-
I guess.
Yeah. I was there with my family as well, so it was fun to just be like, Mom.
Yeah. Mom, read these lines with me.
Did you have to do like an American accent for it, or did you
Yeah, I
have an accent
did.
for the show? Okay.
Yeah, no, it was American. There's pretty much never any New Zealand accents in there. Oh, except we had one New Zealander in the show who had a New Zealand accent.
I believe they prefer to be called Kiwis.
Kiwis, yeah. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Racist.
Globally correct.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. There's our
Edit
first
that
one.
out. Oh, it's live. I'm like,
Hey, Cameron, you're one of our favorites here. We love it.
Good segue.
Oh, were you
It's-
bored?
yes.
Were you just?
The show was going off the rails there.
Okay.
Cameron, tell us about your year.
Yeah,
and your
I was on
character.
Megaforce. Well, really, I didn't appear till Super Megaforce, but that was 2013, 14, right before Dino, and I was the Silver Ranger. So
Nice.
came in and took care of business. Really. The other guys weren't handling it, so I kind of had to take over for a little while.
Now, Ryan, who did you play?
Heckle. So it was like an alien human, like it was a human face, but a guy turned into this big alien monster. It was like Heckle and Snide, so like a Jekyll and Hyde type of deal.
Wow.
They, changed
All
a
right.
few letters in that. But yeah, no, it was really fun. It's fun to be villains because you can show more than like happy. You can do some screaming and some running around.
Yeah. Did you get killed?
No, I didn't. I turned good. I think because...
We have some pictures, I think.
Oh, there is.
There you are.
Oh, wow.
Part and parcel with looking like a human, I don't think you're allowed to get killed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
I don't think so.
Yeah.
At least on screen.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it's
maybe.
a kid show.
They
like
have those
kid
rules.
friendly.
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
new.
cool
Yeah.
color in their hair too.
Yeah, a little bit of blue to spice things up.
Yeah, did they dye that?
No, they didn't. It was just a bunch of clips.
Oh.
But yeah,
Really?
Really?
That's funny.
yeah, it got a bit bad. I got like a big cut on the top of my head though, falling down some stairs in a club.
Oh.
Which made those clips not as comfortable for.
Were you filming in this club or were you clubbing in this club?
No, I was clubbing. In
Good.
this- Yeah.
That's what I like to hear. Clubbing with blue hair
Yeah.
in Auckland. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
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 What about you, Ryan? Any injuries?
No. No.
I'm sorry.
Is it called
Cameron.
Yeah.
I was
You
just
said
going to let
Ryan.
that
I pointed
go.
at Cameron.
Cameron.
Yeah.
I know Cameron very well.
I
Well,
didn't
we're
have any
talking about-
injuries though.
Different ways you can say so. Run,
Obviously, I've been hitting the head.
Cam, and then the run. That was close enough.
Okay, sorry.
Wait, what
You-
was the
I-
actual question?
Hey, Cameron, any injuries for you?
He called you Ryan and then asked if you had any injuries. That's what
so
happened.
Injuries on Rangers, not on set. No, I probably I think I bumped my head pretty bad and got like a nasty egg on my head from John Loudermilk, our Blue Ranger, scaring me. He popped out of the trailer. There was like our trailers were these like the Kias. What are they? Or Kia? They're like RVs. Yeah. They're like RV trailers. They're not like the Star Wagons here. They're
Yeah, yeah.
actual. They have a driver's seat. They're
Oh,
like
wow.
RVs.
Yeah. Okay.
It was kind of cool. I was like, can I take this camping? Or-
Steal the
yeah.
trailer.
There you
But there were there was like storage compartments above and below the like living compartments, and I guess one of the compartments was big enough for a human to fit in, because I walked in to get changed into my costume or whatever, and John Loudermilk comes barreling out of one, and I think I jumped back and like hit my head or something. Yeah, but I had a pretty nasty bruise from that. No, as far as like set injuries, no, very very safe set. Like when I never got injured.
Now,
See, Jim, it could be a lot worse. You know, you didn't get any injuries from me scaring you. I scared Jim. If you go to @scaredjim on Instagram, you can see Jim getting scared on video.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot.
That does sound like a shameless plug,
But no
trust
bruises.
me,
Yeah,
He's
it
tried
was.
to hit me before.
it is worth a watch. That Jim is very expressive.
now, Cameron, I am at 5% battery. So much for this.
It's okay.
thing.
This paper, the battery doesn't run out.
So, what was your story for how you got cast?
For how I got cast? Gosh, it was the longest casting process ever.
He looks really good in a wig.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I originally auditioned for. I think the first time I auditioned was actually for Samurai, which was the season right before ours, and I think I got maybe one callback, and then it didn't go anywhere. Came back, auditioned for Megaforce. Got all the way down to like the mix and match session, which if anybody knows that process, that's like the final day of casting. It's like they've got about 20 actors that they are kind of going interchanging and going like, well, you look good with these 4, and then they'll pull you out and run scenes, and then run some more stunt things with you. Like he said, a bunch of mediocre high kicks from everybody in the room, and then everybody gets cast like a week later and whatever. And I didn't get cast. But the thing is, for the screen testing for that process, I was actually in the middle of getting married.
Well, congratulations.
And and I was on the East Coast. I was in Carolina, and 2 days before my wedding, or 3 days before my wedding, they called and said, "We want to fly you out to LA. We got to get you on the screen for the screen test."
So you said, "Honey, we got to put this thing on hold." Okay.
No, I said, as long as you get me back the day before my wedding, we're good. And so they did. They flew me there and back, and it was all good. And then the wedding happened. Day after the wedding, they called me again. They said, "We're doing another screen test on Monday. And
Some wedding gift.
we need you back in LA." And this was all for Megaforce, by the way. So for one of the original 5 Rangers in Megaforce. And so I flew out and came back to LA, started my honeymoon a couple days late. When we did a cross-country road trip for our honeymoon. And when I got to Louisiana, we decided to go to Austin next.
Nice.
And as we were driving to Austin, we get another call from Rangers Casting, and they said, "Hey, we're doing another screen test. We need you to fly."
Oh my god.
Wow.
This is how exhausting the
Yeah.
process is. Like, they go and go and go. And back when Haim Saban was the owner of Power Rangers, he was very indecisive, and so it could go on forever. Like, this process was insane. And so I flew out. My wife drove across Texas by herself.
Oh,
Happy
And-
honeymoon.
Yeah. Just Texas, though, which is still a
Texas
million
takes
hours.
a day by
Yeah.
itself.
I was gonna say that's 3/4 of the country
Yes.
right there.
Yeah. So she drove across Texas, and then I flew back, and that was that. And then I didn't get the role. And
Wow.
so I felt super burnt by them. And,
Yeah.
And then December rolled around, and casting called me, and they said, "Listen, we know you hate us, but we're casting for the Silver Ranger. Please just show up. We love you. Please keep showing up." So I did, and I ended up booking it.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah. And, which was great, they felt so bad. The executive producer, Jonathan Zacher at the time, bless him for this, he felt so bad for all the honeymoon wedding stuff that he ended up giving me the director's apartment for the duration of shooting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna
I can
ask-
say that now.
Yeah.
Like I think I've told the story a couple of times, but I'm comfortable enough saying that now. Like, I'm feeling like I got special privileges or whatever. But then again, I was there for only 3 to 4 months, and all the other Rangers are there for 9. So they're like hunkering down.
Why
for
so
almost a year.
short?
Well, because I only shot the second half, which is the second season.
Okay.
So I shot episodes 20 through 40 with them,
Jeez,
and
that's a
they
lot of
had
episodes.
1 through 40. And so when the Rangers go out there, they're basically renting a house for 9 months. Like they're out there for a year.
40 episodes a season?
There needs to be like a reality show about.
Oh God, the Ranger
Ranger's
house could totally
my-
be a yeah.
Be
You
a
s-
nightmare.
You
But
start
they're all
out
the same
like,
house?
Well, depends. Now there
Sometimes.
have been seasons
have-
where they don't all live together,
Yeah.
or
I think it
maybe
depends how they
mesh.
mesh. Yeah.
Our cast meshed really well.
Like real world Power Rangers.
Yes, like real
Exactly.
world, like
Big
Big Brother
Brother,
Power
Power
Rangers.
That would
yeah.
be great.
I don't know if Hasbro would want that getting out
Yeah.
there. They're-
Hasbro, I don't know how they're doing things nowadays, but
I mean, money is money. And if you
yeah,
That's
and
true,
it's-
solid point.
And Auckland's not cheap. Like Auckland's like LA. It's very expensive, and the rent there is tough. And so sometimes you just buckle down, and even if you don't necessarily mesh with somebody in your cast, you're kind of like, well, it's the difference of me paying. I think they do it by week in Auckland
Yeah,
too. It's like
by week.
$700 a week or something like that for some
Wow.
of these places. And yeah, and so it's the difference of that, or $300 a week if you're splitting a house with people. So
All right. So that you guys are enough removed from the production where
we're no longer under contract.
that's the question I was going to ask. Come on.
Any funny stories, Ryan, you can tell us?
Oh no, I've got oh gosh. I mean, apart from getting drunk and falling down, and then also the other thing from that was I bruised my face a lot. So for a couple of episodes, I'm super tan. And then it just is like randomly I'll walk out and be like beautiful and tan and looking
Your bruises
great.
kept getting
But-
darker and darker.
Yeah, really, it's just covering up.
Were
my
you
bruises.
boxing kangaroos? What happened? Like,
Yeah.
Kangaroos are in Australia.
Yeah.
oh wait, I thought you were. Oh no, you were shooting in New Zealand.
He was,
Yes,
he was
globally
boxing
incorrect.
kiwis.
Yes, he was
Yeah.
boxing kiwis.
Yeah.
They're feisty critters.
It was like,
That's
Well, you
strike
said-
one, Ben. That's globally incorrect.
yeah. I'm
You say
sorry.
that your house got
I
along
issue an
really
apology
well.
to the Kiwis.
Your house got along really well.
Yeah, so the Rangers did. And now there are other stories that they can sort of corroborate, like sometimes there were rifts in the household and things like that. Where
Ranger
little arguments-
riffs. I wonder what
Like
that
little
is.
argument, just little. I mean, listen, you get holed up in the same house
Yeah.
with 5 people for 9 months. There's going to be some disagreements.
Oh my
There's going to be
gosh.
some things like
Wait.
drunken mishaps.
What do we hear?
No, it's just they're all such like big like you
personalities
put
are
any
huge.
5 actors into a room and it's
Right.
just 100% a nightmare all of the time. So imagine being like
Sometimes it's a
5
beautiful night.
Yeah, it's like 5
Our panel's
contrasting
gonna have
actors.
7.
Yeah.
So our panel's gonna have 7.
7 of you on
Rangers
one
and
So
panel.
who's on
Oh my
the? So
gosh.
who all's on the panel now?
Okay, so since I'm so glad you asked.
Let's
Yeah.
segue.
Luke
What a great
Cheeseman,
segue.
can you tell us who was going to be on the panel this Saturday? And while he's finding that, which Carolina did you guys drive from?
Well, we got married in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I'm from
But-
Greenville, South Carolina.
So we, Nicole went to Clemson.
Oh, I was right up the road from there. Go Tigers! Yeah.
So yeah, we were both raised just south of Charlotte in a little town called Fort Mill, South.
I know exactly where Fort
Yeah.
Mill's at.
Yeah, man.
All right, do you have
All
it?
right. Well, obviously we have these two already, and then we have Jack Guzman from the.
Oh, I love
Jack.
Jack
yeah, he's
Guzman.
coming back
What a
again
He's
from Power Rangers
magnificent.
Wild Force. And then we have some new people. So is it Davi or Davey?
Davi.
Davi Santos is
Yes.
he's part of Power Rangers Dino Charge.
Yes.
You know him.
Love Davi.
Then we got, of course, Ryan here, and then Jazz isn't actually Abraham Rodriguez
Yes.
from Power
Yes.
Rangers Beast Morphers, and also from Power Rangers Beast Morphers is Jacqueline Skilowski.
Oh, Skizlowski.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's coming. She's going to be our girl on the panel this time. CR wasn't available,
CR,
unfortunately.
bummer.
So, and then Colby
CR.
Strong, who is also part of Power Rangers Beast Morphers. So,
Wow.
and then moderator Ben here.
Yay.
And I'm super excited because I am a major Power Rangers fanboy. The only thing that I don't really know anything about is everything that happened after 1995.
That was me too.
So,
I watched it from like 1993 until 97.
yeah. Once we get past the movie,
Yeah.
like the mid 90s movie, then I don't know anything after that. But-
Despite being like filmed in New Zealand, it was banned there for years.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because it was too violent. As it was like deemed too violent to be a kid's show.
Interesting. I wasn't allowed to watch it as a kid.
Same.
So I mean, I totally understand that because like I think that's why I wasn't allowed to watch it was because of the violence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was one episode where I remember there was a decay monster and it had these
Oh,
dirty
yeah.
teeth, and they had a gun and they put it in its mouth and were like, "Boom! Oh no, it deflected." And I was like, "Can you put that on the kid's show?"
There was some
Wow.
wild stuff.
Where's that music coming from?
It's just exciting. It's Power Rangers.
Well, there was.
Higher
some
ground from the
clips
Power
for
Ranger
us.
movie.
yeah.
Yeah. Once you had that epic rollerblading montage through the city
Oh,
from
yeah.
the movie, I
Oh,
was kind
yeah.
of like, this doesn't get much cooler than that. We can skip Power
well,
Rangers.
the
from here on
movie
out.
opens up with them skydiving, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point Break style.
Yeah, Point
That's
Break,
true.
just jumping into it. Yeah.
Point Break for kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, I've gone back and like watched some of the original, the Zeo Rangers, the Japanese show that they lifted the footage from the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They lifted footage from Zeo Ranger, which was actually like the 14th season of that show in Japan. But I watched that show, and that show is like dramatic and dark, and people die, and you watch it, and then it's just like, hey, it's the Red Ranger and the Blue Ranger, and they're fighting a monster, and then like Rita Repulsa's son dies and stuff. Like it's crazy, and there's like drama and it's all in Japanese, and I don't understand a lick of it, but
You should voice it yourself.
it's true. I should, shouldn't I?
So when is that panel? Is it which day?
It's on Sunday at 10 a.m. and room 409B.
Yep.
Cool.
So if you're not at church,
Yeah. Where is it?
Come
Or go
worship
to
the
church
Power
after.
Rangers.
Yeah, or go to a Sunday
Yeah,
evening
it's
service.
over
Oh,
at
there you
10
go.
p.m.
Hey, where's LA Comic Con this year?
LA Comic Con. Yeah, let's talk about that real quick.
it's in Los Angeles.
Yes, it is at the LA Convention
Convention
Center.
Center.
And since you brought that up, we have a number of upcoming conventions to tell you about, Cameron.
We are transitioning.
Cameron's our
All right.
transition master tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so October 11th through 13th, that's this coming weekend, is LA Comic Con. And of course, as we mentioned, there's the Con Guy Power Rangers panel at 10 a.m. on Sunday. The following weekend, October 18th through 20th, is Santa Fe Comic Con at the Buffalo Thunder Resort and Casino in Santa Fe. That same weekend, October 18th through 20th, Baltimore Comic Con at the Baltimore Convention Center. And October 19th and 20th is Memphis Comic Con at the Agri Center International in Memphis.
Agri Center.
Agri Center International.
Sounds like it's at a barn.
I see. I just thought it sounded like this really, I don't know, crazy like company name, like the Agri Center.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
ConAgra.
See, I hear that and I think the Aggro Crag from Guts. If you ever watched Nickelodeon,
Wow.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. When something starts with Agra, that's
I've
what
never
I
heard
think
of the show. Is this a show?
It was one of those kids' adventure game shows on Nickelodeon.
It's called Guts.
It
know
was
what?
like
It
it
was
was
like
like
you have
American
Guts.
Gladiators.
Not like you,
but it was kids.
It sounded like
Yes.
gore for a
Like
second.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Kind of. But
Right
it
on.
was like all like the physical action and then
Yeah.
But you know, tangent. Anyway, October 26th through 27th is the Maui Comic Con in Maui, Hawaii.
What, you guys are all going to that?
Yes, we are. You guys are going to be on the panel?
on the company
we'll go
deck.
there, right?
I think we're going.
We're all over to go.
Ryan, you can get us there, right?
I can get you there.
Get the studio to sponsor that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now before we jump into Joker, and you guys are going to help us talk all about Joker, Ben has what we like to call 3 minutes of news. Ben's going to do the 3 minutes of news with us, and Ryan, we going to be ready to do that?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna
got
count
the
you
time.
in. Oh, I'm gonna count you in.
All right.
So here's the challenge today. We have what should, by all rights, be way more than 3 minutes of news.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to see how much of this I can get through in 3 minutes.
And
We're
it's
gonna have
all-
a big alarm after 3 minutes.
And by the way, it is all directly from New York Comic Con, which just
Wow.
ended yesterday.
And there's big Star Trek news, and I need to like not interrupt because you've got to get through it in 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Turn his mic off.
The arsonist
No.
has
Sure.
oddly shaped feet. All right.
All right, Ben.
How now, brown
You're
cow?
starting your news in 3, 2, 1.
In a fascinating bit of retro casting, it was announced Sunday that New York Comic Con's Warner Brothers television panel that Jason Behr, star of the 1999 series Roswell, will join the Roswell, New Mexico cast in a recurring role. Also added to the CW Warner Brothers television sophomore series will be Gaius Charles, who played fan favorite Brian Smash Williams on Friday Night Lights. Netflix has set a December 24th launch date for season 2 of Lost in Space. Yes, the streaming service's family adventure series. The news came as the cast and crew talked up the upcoming season during its panel Saturday at New York Comic Con, where a teaser preview was shown. At a raucous panel with an estimated 5,000 fans at New York Comic Con, an audience member asked Scott Gimple, chief content officer of the Walking Dead universe and series executive producer, for some clues on the upcoming movie spin-offs on the long-running franchise. Gimple jokingly said, "Ninjas." What was known is the movies continue to the story of series hero Rick Grimes, played by Andrew Lincoln. He was last seen wounded and whisked away by strangers in a helicopter at the end of season 9 after saving the remnants of civilization. He won't appear in the season 10. Gimple did say this: "There are a lot of things that have been going on The Walking Dead outside of these characters' imaginations and what they know. We will be exploring this through the movie, through Rick Grimes, and even beyond that, opening the world of The Walking Dead. Season 10 debuts Sunday, October 6th. Speaking of The Walking Dead, AMC has renewed the long-running zombie drama for an 11th season, according to the showrunner Angela Kang, who announced the news Saturday at New York Comic Con. Additionally, it was confirmed that Lauren Cohan is officially returning to the franchise as Maggie Green, last seen in season 9. Apple said that New York Comic Con on the Thursday that M. Night Shyamalan's psychological thriller series Servant will premiere globally on Apple TV Plus on November 28th. The company's streaming service launches globally on November 1st. The series follows a Philadelphia couple in mourning after an unspeakably tragedy creates a rift in their marriage and opens the door for a mysterious force to enter their home. Ryan Reynolds was the biggest surprise guest for day one at New York Comic Con, thanks to the 20th Century Fox and Studios morning preview panel for 2 films: Matthew Vaughn's origin story adventure The King's Man, which stars Ralph Fiennes, and Sean Levy's sci-fi gamer fantasy Free Guy, which stars Reynolds. In Free Guy, Reynolds plays a regular guy bank teller who discovers he's actually a background character in an open-world video game called
60
Free City,
seconds.
which is about to go offline. The Star Trek Universe panel at New York Comic Con thrilled audiences with the debut of new trailer for Star Trek Picard, as well as announcing January 23rd, 2020 as the premiere date for the 10-episode episode series. Executive producer Alex Kurtzman confirmed that the events of the 2009 Star Trek movie, which saw the Romulan homeworld destroyed, will play into the events of Picard, mentioning that Trek's status as a mirror to the real world would be preserved and that issues of immigration were considered in creation of the story. The trailer shows next generation characters Data, Riker, and Troy, along with Star Trek Voyager's character 7
30
of
seconds.
9. The year 2020 will be one of the new beginnings for some of Marvel Entertainment's most iconic characters, with the company announcing relaunches for the comic book adventures of Thor, Iron Man, and Guardians of the Galaxy during its Marvel Comics Next Big Thing panel at New York Comic Con on Friday. Boom! 17 seconds to go!
Wow. Wow.
All right, I'm exhausted.
I'm the new Micro Machines guy. I'm the new Micro Machines guy.
He must have been doing circular breathing to do that. It's like he never
He
took a
may
breath.
need a breathing
It was
machine.
impressive.
Bringing the oxygen for Ben.
All I know is that this was intended. Okay, he's gonna fall down. This was intended to be too much news for 3 minutes. Ben, you have proven us wrong. Next week we'll double that. And
There we go. I'm in.
Add to it.
But you have to add voices to that one.
all right,
Okay.
Yeah.
just real quick before we jump into Joker, did anything stand out there that anybody
Yes.
wants?
Okay. For the Picard series, they've announced the premiere date, and it is the day before my birthday.
Oh, good for
So
you.
it's like,
Are we throwing a party?
sure.
It's called Picard.
I'm super excited because my
Picardy.
birthday's on the 24th, and I'm like,
Picardy?
it's like, CBS is giving me this gift.
Did you? Are you excited about the guest stars that they had on there?
Yes. Well, I already knew about a lot of this.
I didn't know that 7 and 9 was
Yeah.
going to be on there until I saw
Yeah.
the trailer. That was pretty amazing.
Nice.
Dude.
And this new trailer, you see some of Riker and Troy. You see, yeah.
And I love the way you started laughing because I did too. The description of Ryan Reynolds' new film, Free Guy.
Freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was like William Shatner at first look because like I hadn't seen him in a while. He had that full,
Well, he's
like,
in that house
beard.
that you see in Generations.
Uh-huh.
At least it looks
Ryan
like
Reynolds?
the house.
No.
we're
They're
talk-
still talking about Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like the house that Riker is in looks a lot like the house you see in Generations that Kirk is in when he's in the Nexus. And
When he's chopping wood.
yeah.
Interesting.
But it was good to see Maggie's coming back to The Walking Dead.
Did her
that'll
show get
bring
canceled?
Whiskey Cavalier was
That's what I thought,
dead
but-
on arrival.
Yeah.
That'll bring a lot of conflict with the Negan character because Negan's kind of somewhat
Wishy-washy.
wishy-washy part of the team, not as locked up now. So
Not as
Maggie
locked
being
up.
back will probably want him.
Well, as you guys know,
Well,
the
there'll
comic
definitely
book
be some
series has ended.
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
It is done.
Very, like, no one knew about it. Like,
Yeah.
I was talking to, when we went to Black Cat Comics, he was talking about how they didn't even know. Like, people showed up to buy it, they couldn't.
Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah.
crazy. And I don't want to give any spoilers, but let's just say they are free to do what they want with most of the characters they still have on the
Really?
show right now. Yes.
Wow.
Well, it worked for Game of Thrones.
Me and just real quick, me and Luke, we went to what theme park did we go to yesterday?
Not scary.
Not Scary Farm, and they do this thing called the hanging. And at the hanging, they choose, and it's meant to like skewer pop culture over the
Yes.
whole
Yes.
entire. But at the end, they hang somebody from a gallows, and it cannot be just somebody that everybody is angry with and hateful of.
Yes.
Guess who almost got it? The Game of Thrones writers.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Makes
Who,
sense.
who ended up getting hanged?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Good.
Well,
okay.
that's.
Wait, I didn't know that was being brought into it.
I know.
Good
It
lord.
wasn't that funny.
I thought it was like,
Say,
let's,
Yeah.
No, actually.
but isn't that what actually happened too?
Yes, yeah, but
ooh,
oh, maybe
Sorry,
it
that
is.
was not.
They didn't
He
worry,
did hang
have to worry
himself.
about it.
Ryan.
Quote unquote.
he
but-
hung himself.
But here's the worst part: the actual person who got hung at the thing that got hung at the end was the hanging. It was the final year of the hanging. It's no more. It's been going on since 1975.
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably a bit insensitive these days.
That's it
In
got,
the 70s, it was like, hey, we're gonna hang a pop culture thing. Ah, funny.
all right.
So nowadays they have the lethal injectioning?
There you go.
There you go.
Todd.
I'm sure everyone would feel better about
Speaking
that.
of the 70s,
Todd Phillips' nihilistic supervillain film scored the biggest October opening of all time with $247 million in global ticket sales. We are, of course, talking about Joker.
Yeah.
Is it Joker or The Joker? It's
Joker.
Joker.
Yeah.
All
And he
right.
says it in the film. He says, introduce me as Joker.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And according to box office analyst Paul I don't know his last name. If this proves anything, it's that audience today should be given credit for wanting their art to be challenging and not just watered down or easy to digest. What say you, Cameron?
Absolutely. It was humanizing for a character that all its existence has been cartoonized. It was very real. It was very. It felt like more like a novel than it did a comic book or some kind of nonfiction book. And at a time when I think we really need the humanization sort of awareness of mental instability and mental illness, I think it tackled that very well, and it took a real portrait of that. So I kind of found a lot of hope in it.
This guy agrees with you. His name is Paul Garabedian from Comscore. It feels he goes. It feels a lot like the '60s and '70s all over again, with the type of raging bull and easy writer filmmaking fearlessness that made those decades so essential and groundbreaking in the annals of film.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ryan?
I loved it. I went with a group of friends who were very so half of them absolutely hated it and ripped it apart. But I really like what it will do for that genre as well. Like the superheroes, that sort of movie genre started to become really narrow, and it was a bit like a superhero movie was like, oh, you have a character, he realizes he's powerful, there's a love interest, he fails, then he wins, and yay. And that was kind of it. So it's nice to see something that kind of gives free reign pretty much for movies to really kind of do what they want now with those characters in really interesting ways.
They're usually very big too. These superheroes movies are usually huge.
Yeah, no,
on some
buildings
giant
didn't
scale,
explode. Yeah.
And this felt very intimate. It was very personal.
Yeah, it was good. I think it was still. I loved it and found it incredibly entertaining. It was gripped the whole time, but I think it still had its flaws. There was definitely moments where it kind of for example, when and we're all good for spoilers now. Right?
It's fine.
Oh,
Can we get a spoiler alert, Ryan?
So, sorry. So,
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
There we go. It's a bit.
Nice.
we're good now.
Yeah.
In the climactic scene when he's having that interview with Robert De Niro, who I agree kind of didn't seem to sit in the character.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about before we got on the show, Robert De Niro as a talk show host didn't read for me.
Not the strongest performance for sure.
Yeah.
By a long shot in the film, at least.
You almost wanted some cheese.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it was I love Robert De Niro.
Yeah, maybe he's
but-
too good of an actor.
Right. The
He
role
sank
of
into it too. And
yeah.
just sort of.
The role of talk show host just did not read on him for me when I saw it. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, I was just saying, that moment for me as well, it was a bit weird the way he became just so, self-aware, and suddenly the dialogue was super, kind of clunky. It was he was, just a bit too articulate about everything. It was a bit too, like the line, and he's like, oh, I've got nothing to lose. And then you're like, now it's back to being, a bit of a random superhero movie. People don't really say that stuff. But
I sort of like the build up to that though, because he's rehearsing for that the whole film, sort of rehearsing, and then you kind of watch as his beats of violence escalate, as his detachment from reality sort of just crumble.
yeah.
But the through line is that he's just so focused on getting in front of a stage, in front of an audience,
Getting attention.
getting that ear, and so I kind of. I do agree that the speech was a little bit it didn't feel like the Joker was performing it. It felt like the writers were performing it.
It was very writerly.
Yeah.
Yes. But it still was him in that scene.
Kind of necessary. It kind of just had to happen for
Yes,
it to be.
it did sort of have to
Yeah.
happen.
I also wasn't too clued because they were making lots of references to real life crimes, like the Slaughterhouse 5 and the.
I think it's the Central Park.
Oh, Central
The
Park
Central
5.
Park
Central Park 5. Sorry.
I understood that.
Yeah.
I think that's where you were going.
Right. And then there were a few other, and I kind of didn't really like those references. I kind of slightly got them, but then I kind of didn't know what the point was. So
I
if
read the
anyone-
review in the New Yorker, and the New Yorker absolutely hated the film, or the reviewer of the New Yorker, because it felt as if it didn't treat those actual historical events true as they were treated.
I have a question.
I say, Go blow yourself, New Yorker. I'm gonna say.
Whoa. Sorry.
I don't know. Yeah, that seems a little.
Jim
Just
Frye.
the New Yorker seems to be a bit out of touch sometimes. I read the New Yorker a lot.
I
really
subscribe
enjoy
and get it every week.
But that seems out of touch.
Yeah.
It's still a fictional film.
And I'm not sure that was actually supposed to be anything like the Central Park
that
Five.
was the thing. I was
Because
like,
just
was
because
it-
there were 5 people there does not mean it's a direct reference to another event that happened in history
could
where there
have
were
been
5 people.
A loose
Yeah.
reference that sort of to touch us in that real space.
It was trying to ground it historically in the roughness, edginess of New York. I
Yeah,
think.
and that's why I didn't get. Were these like references, actual references, or were they just people kind of like really drawing extraneous?
For example,
like,
the
links?
thing on the train, I guess, was based. The New Yorker, according to the New Yorker, thought that it was based on another occurrence about somebody killing some people on the train, but I guess there was a large race component to a lot of the crimes. The New Yorker was objecting to the fact that the Joker seems to have erased any racial tensions or racial component to the actual crime. And I get that. I get like there's sensitivity around that.
Yeah.
But I also saw the Joker as a completely raceless type of commentary. It was. I think it was touching on other things.
Katie, what were you going to ask?
I have a question for people who haven't seen the movie, mainly because of the mental health aspect of the movie that I've heard from reviews. If someone, because it's not for the faint of heart or for people who have certain issues, so do you guys think that people with severe mental health should stay away from this film?
No.
Or do you think it would be good?
I'd say
Is it triggering?
it probably depends on the
Yes.
person and depends on
Yeah,
their particular
exactly.
case and whatever
And
they're
there's
dealing
that
with.
giant spectrum of like, what could trigger you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's any number of things. The violence wasn't as much violence as I expected. The violence that did happened in very short bursts.
It's pretty
And
intense.
There isn't.
Yeah.
There are some intense pieces.
Yeah.
There's a couple of very uncomfortably intense pieces.
Yeah, but also in
Yeah.
the movie's defense, it's kind of like redundant for people to be like, oh, it's like triggering, blah, 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 because it really doesn't pretend to be anything other than that. It's like from the very. I remember even watching the advert when it came out, and you were just like, oh my gosh, this movie looks harrowing. It's so intense. You felt very uncomfortable and disturbed already. So it's like, oh, I'm not going to go to this movie and be like.
It tells you who he is. Too,
I want someone
from
to
the-
look at my shirt, though. The Joker was a serial killer who was sadistic and killed people. Have you read The Killing Joke? Have you seen some of these books? This is exactly what he's always been like.
Right.
But what were you saying? I'm
There
sorry.
they do tell you who he is from the get-go, in that he's not stable.
Yeah.
There's the scene where he's sitting with the mental health advisor or the social worker that's helping him and trying to help him. Opens his journal and that line that says, "I hope my death makes more sense, CENTS, than my life," which is a weird sadistic sort of way of looking at your life.
Yeah.
And with his the laughing condition and everything, you just kind of see right away. Well, buckle up, because this is a study of an unhealthy brain.
All right. I want to hear differing opinions. I want to hear people who have a problem with it.
So for me, overall I enjoyed it. I liked it as a piece of art. I liked it as a Joker origin story, and I thought it brought a lot to him. But I have opinions. Robert De Niro's the talk show host. Yeah, weird.
But I think there's kind of a reason for that, though, because of throwing back to Taxi Driver and all that.
Right.
Sure.
But it's like
King of Comedy.
That was the name of
Yeah, but there was like, it felt like, the thing is, the Batman universe, the Gotham City universe, that people act and speak in a certain way that they kind of injected into this film, but the fact that it was supposed to be like Taxi Driver-esque, and then you injected this kind of way people talk and think into that universe kind of thing, it felt a little disconnected to me, and primarily a lot of it did center around De Niro and the way he talked. I just couldn't believe him. The other thing, but I love De Niro. But the other things that I had problems with were like, I'm expected to believe that the Joker is 34 years older than Batman. And so if we play this out, when Batman returns to Gotham City, at minimum, the Joker's going to be in his mid-50s by the time Batman becomes Batman. There was that. The other thing was did not need to see Thomas and Martha Wayne get killed again. Like, I've seen that on screen 10,000 times.
I have a thought about that, though. You finish, and then I'll share my thought.
But it was also in that, and I don't know if you're going to address this or not, but it was such a heavy elbow of like, see how it's all connected, guys? See how everything's connected? And then the other thing was they directly lifted a shot, like, it was a shot-for-shot redo of the shot from The Dark Knight of Heath Ledger in the back of the cop car leaning his head against the window, and the cop car is driving when Joaquin Phoenix was in the exact same position. And I don't know if that was... I assume they did it as homage.
Yeah, a bit of respect for Heath, maybe.
Yeah, and I didn't hate it, but I was like, do something else. Like, Heath's performance was Heath's performance. You can't go... Like, you can't...
Yeah.
You can't touch that, in my personal opinion. But
what do you think, Derek?
I was gonna say yes about Thomas and Martha Wayne, but for me, like, even though you're seeing that tragedy in the midst of all this, knowing that this is part of the broader Batman story, like that moment is where we actually get a little bit of hope in the movie. And knowing that this man's choices and his evil acts that have spurred more evil acts by extension he has sown the seeds of his own destruction by helping to create the hero that's going to come and fight him. And I think if we didn't have that in there, the movie would have been so much more bleak.
Yeah.
And even though like what we see is just tragedy, we're all watching it knowing, but we know that's Batman.
When was the last time we saw on screen Martha and Thomas get killed?
It was in Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
It was in Batman Begins. It's been in all the cartoons.
But most recently, Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Batman for what year was that? 17?
16.
16.
I have
March.
one other quick question that's not quite related to what we were saying, but still related to the Joker. My friend said that DC's name is not actually in the credits.
I heard
just
that
says,
too.
No, I didn't see it.
It says Warner Media.
The
So
DC's there.
Yeah.
it is there?
It is.
So
At least in the
DC
end
did
credits,
still
it does
have their
mention it.
stamp of approval
Yeah.
and approve it,
Big
right?
blue stamp.
Okay. Because when she told me that, I was like, does that mean that they were like, this is not associated with like our thing? But if Brian said it was there, then I'll take that
it's
question
not
back.
supposed to be part of the DC extended universe
Right.
of films, and that's why we don't see the whole big DC logo intro that we've seen in a lot of those at the beginning.
And I sort of like that because, and to speak to the point about not wanting to see their deaths again, I love the idea that Batman was created because of the Joker and not the other way around.
Right.
Which is how we've always known it.
Right.
And so there's some sort of like, I don't know, about him being old by the time Batman becomes Batman.
Right.
But I have something to say about that. How old do you think Jack was when he played the Joker in
Was
Tim
he in his-
Burton's?
He was
52.
He was
when it
52.
came out.
52
I was
when
gonna
it
look
came
that
out.
up. I was gonna look that up too.
Wow.
But
How old was Mr. Mom?
Michael Keaton. I don't know. But
I mean,
to
but
that
Batman's
point, in the
not
1989
yeah.
movie, Jack Napier, the Joker, is the one who kills Batman's parents in the alley.
Yeah.
And so that
He's the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he says, "You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?"
Yeah.
And in this one, it was the movement that created by the Joker
Right.
that
man.
did him in.
Which I loved that last scene. I thought that was I was like, yeah, that's.
It was
And then he
clever.
climbs up on top of the car, and it's like he got what he wanted, and that reinforces. And then the very last scene before the credits, he kills the psychiatrist, right?
Pretty sure.
Oh,
He killed her. 'Cause
Yeah.
he walks away and
He
he's
walks
like,
away with blood
he's
on his
tracking
shoe.
blood
Walks
off
off in
his
her
shoes,
blood,
right?
yeah.
That's what I figured out.
I don't know why, but I thought that was super clever. I was like, they didn't show the death; they just
Right.
Yeah, they
watch
just
him
showed the
walking
blood and,
away in her bloody footsteps.
and then
makes it
getting
more
chased.
disturbing.
I love the
in a way.
chase scene, the little
Getting
chase.
chased
Isn't
by
that
the
funny?
orderly
Happens
was
back
so
and
good.
forth like a little bit of comedy in the back.
a very little bit of comedy.
I'll tell you what, Derek. That argument that you just made won me over on the Thomas Martha.
thanks.
In this movie.
And it was also kind of interesting the way everything was burning at the end, almost an homage back to Heath Ledger's. He just wanted to see things burn.
Watch the world
You know,
burn.
and Watch the
wanna,
world burn.
I want to see a part 2 of this. Now that the anarchy's begun, I kind of want to see where this.
They promised there
Joker
would.
go
They didn't
with
promise. They said there would not be one. But with this kind of
Well, this
money,
kind
They've
of
just
money,
announced
I mean,
that they were all ready to make a sequel as long as Joaquin's on board.
He's got to lose some weight again.
that's a big what if, though.
Well, I thought, if they declared
hard
they
to say
weren't going to
that's
make
gonna-
another Joker movie, the next one's just going to be Penguin.
Oh,
You know.
jeez.
I was like, you couldn't do this with any other Batman villain.
But
I just call it Puffin.
Luke, you have a question.
I have a question for the actors in the room. So
Yeah.
as
And Ben.
far as the Joker
He forgets.
performance, what did you think? Because people are talking Oscar nomination, other stuff. What did you think of?
I think he'll get the
acting
Oscar.
performance?
I think
Yeah.
he'll get the Oscar.
Yeah.
I mean, that was so total character. Like,
I agree. I loved it. I thought it was really
Power Rangers.
interesting.
Sorry.
No,
I want to hear yours too.
Yeah, I thought Joaquin knocked it out of the park. I mean, you can tell, like, some people were like, "Oh, Joaquin's acting so hard in this movie." I'm like, "Yeah, he's fucking acting so hard."
but
it's
also-
a
That's our
role that
one.
requires
That's
that.
our one.
That's our one. But it's a role that requires that, and to sell into that, I just hope he's okay mentally
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with my friend earlier. Yeah.
and emotionally. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, he poured himself into it.
Because
and
this one seemed as dark as Heath Ledger ever went.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
Yet let's hope that this guy
Well, I
has
think one
some
of the hardest things was the diet and getting that skinny because he promised he did this before
Mm-hmm.
for a movie and he said he'd never do it again and then he ended up doing it for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And that takes a
That's
toll.
been that's
Yeah.
been
Can
one
really
of the most
hurt your
difficult
body.
It looked
aspects
terrifying,
of
though.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
worked.
It
Like
really-
the whole physicality
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah,
It was-
and you were correct. You said it felt like a smaller film. It only had a $55 million budget for a superhero film.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't think about the budget once.
No, but still, for a
yeah.
superhero film, it's
Right.
only $55 million, and it more than tripled that in its opening
Incredible.
weekend.
and it was nice.
Wait,
and it was-
247. It's more than.
Yeah.
If y'all were gonna rate it out of 10, what would you give it? I'm just curious. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's a great
Good
question.
question.
Ryan, by the way, Ryan, did you see it?
I did see it.
Real quick, what did you think?
Well, I have a lot to say, but I'll try to be concise.
Oh.
I think this movie's successful in that it's gotten people talking so much. So on paper, it succeeds. I think it's one of the most impeccably well-made movies of the year in terms of craftsmanship. However, I do think this is a lot of craft and not a lot of plot. I had a lot of problem with the plot. I think that the story highlighted a lot, but it didn't say a lot. And I think that might be the point, but for me, that didn't work as well. I think it steals way too much from Taxi Driver. It's not a little, it's a lot. And I rewatched Taxi Driver this summer. There are shot-for-shot, scene-for-scene moments where I'm like, man, they're really stealing from Taxi Driver, not really just inspiration. I mean, Joaquin's incredible. Definitely will get nominated. Maybe win. There's a lot of performances coming out for the rest of the year. I think this movie has an incredible last 20 minutes, and that's so visceral and so exciting. However, I do think that Todd Phillips really overdoes a few moments, especially with Zazie Beetz, where I actually thought that was a really fascinating thing. Zazie Beetz, when they were doing, when you reveal that she's not, actually there. Then he goes back and shows you each scene without her, and then it makes it a really unreliable narrator, and just kind of made it a little more problematic plot-wise for me. But overall, I just think it's such a well-made movie, and it's gotten so many people talking. It's just what DC needed.
I just recently learned her name is pronounced Zazie Bates. Zazie Bates.
So
That was on her
Motel.
Instagram.
1 to 10,
Zazie
scale
Bates.
of 1 to 10. 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Guest on the couch.
I go 8.59.
Yep.
Yeah, I give Joaquin's performance like a 10,
10.
but which
Yeah, for
carries
sure.
the movie for me. But the movie I give like a 6 or a 7.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna go with 8 for now. Like I'm not sure how I'll feel the second time, if I like it more or less, but I'll go with an 8.
I'm going to give it a 6.
I don't know. I'm trying to just
Oh,
average all
oh.
of your numbers and make
No,
that
I want to let everybody else talk.
Someone had opinions they didn't want to share.
So I loved the second half. I thought the first half was a bit self-indulgent, pretentious, and Todd Phillips saying, "Oh, look at me, I am artsy." All right,
He misses the Hangover.
I miss a Hangover so much.
But I think Todd Phillips was artsy.
No, he did
Yeah.
a good job.
I would
on
need
the
to-
second-
Auteur?
on
I
the
wish
second
none
half.
of us. I kind of wish at times that you would not know who directed films.
I think so
before I
too.
saw them.
I agree.
That's why, like, there are certain franchises and movies that I won't watch trailers for, just so that I have no expectations.
Right.
Yeah. Katie.
I didn't
Katie
see it.
didn't see it.
I
Oh,
did not
we have
see it.
completely
No.
ruined it for Katie.
Katie, just pick a number, 1 through 10.
I couldn't. I wouldn't
Okay.
even want to try.
Ben.
I would say to Ryan's point of not as much plot but great performance by the actor, I'd give it a solid 7.5.
Yep. And I do think I will enjoy it more on my second viewing. I must tell everybody, Brad insisted that we see it at 11:15 at night,
No.
which, of course, you know what that means. I slept through a couple of parts. I did not
dude.
know until I got home that his girlfriend did not exist.
Oh, dude.
I know!
She
Spoiler!
existed. She just wasn't his
Well, I
girlfriend.
mean, well, yeah.
Yeah.
She's more like my girlfriend.
Which
so-
makes you question a lot of the plot, like what really happened and
Well,
what didn't.
yeah,
You know,
that's
it just
the other
gave
thing.
some room, like where there's a lot of questions, and that's what
Yeah.
kind of makes it a good movie
Were
because you
they
go back and
brothers?
thinking about
Were
it. Yeah.
they brothers?
I think
No, they.
I think
I don't know,
Yeah.
and we do have to wrap up
Because
here,
they
but-
had the paperwork.
But were they brothers? Yeah, I just that's so I'm gonna
But
go
I
back
think
and
the
watch
there's
it.
some debate
relationship.
in that.
I think the relationship between Thomas and there was real, and his mom was real.
Are we getting Academy
We're getting
Award
played off.
style?
No, we
played
Thank
off?
We gotta
you.
wrap. We
Thank
gotta
you
start
so much,
wrapping.
guys,
We
for
had a
tuning
good-
into the show this week. We love that you guys follow The Con Guy and watch us. You can follow us on theconguy.com, and you can find me at James D. Frye.
You can find me at Con Guy Derek. And remember, don't kill Power Rangers. They're the good guys.
I'm Katie. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at KT_Christine or on the Batwoman after show on Sundays at 10.
Fantastic.
You can kill a Power Ranger as long as it doesn't look like a human. My name's Ben Cleaver at BenKliewer.
I don't have a
Don't-
fancy
yeah, don't know
tagline,
about
but I'm
it.
Cameron Jebo, and thanks for having me.
And
guys.
before you leave, what is the charity that you're working on?
Yeah, tell
Oh
us.
yeah, so I go to Uganda with a group called Reach Up, Reach Out, and we work with an orphanage and widows in Uganda, people and abuse victims as well, and we work to raise awareness for these kids to be able to afford school, clothing, food, and beds.
That's awesome.
And is there
Cool.
anything people can do to help?
Yeah, so my link is posted on my Instagram. I've got a donation link that goes directly towards this Christmas's trip, which is a big one. We're doing a big, giant Christmas party for 5,000 orphans.
All right, and we will put it on our page as well.
Yeah.
We will
Yeah.
tweet that out as
Reach
well.
out, preach out.
Reach up, reach out.
Reach up, reach out.
Reach up,
I
reach
totally
out.
butchered the name. Reach
Right.
up, reach out.
Reach
Thank
up,
you.
reach out, and yeah, I'll forward the link off.
We should
and,
end the show that way.
Yeah, we want to hear
Reach
more
out,
about
reach
this.
out.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
And your social media handle is?
At Cameron Jebo, Jebo, across all platforms.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Anyway, I'm Ryan Carter, and it was really lovely to be here. Thank you, guys.
All right.
And I'm Cheeseman on the Couch. You can find me on theconguy.com and on Twitter at CheeseOnCouch.
And remember, 10 o'clock a.m. this Sunday. Come check us all out at the LA Comic-Con, and we are going out on a really cool video.
It's
as
called
we-
It's Morphin' Time, Meet the Power Rangers. So
Yes,
look
that-
for that in your program.
That's right. And this past Friday was Triple Force Friday, and Jake got a lot of stuff.
Hey everybody from the Con Guy, it's Jake from the Jacob System. So I just wanted to show you a quick video of some of the awesome new Star Wars toys that I picked up this past Friday at Triple Force Friday. Let's check them out. Alright, so starting off we got the Vintage Collection Luke Skywalker and X-Wing pilot gear. Really cool figure. This was actually a part of a 3-pack that was out at San Diego Comic-Con this year. And they have a single card release, so really cool to get that. This is the Sith Jet Trooper, which is going to be featured in the new movie. Really cool design. I like the helmet a lot. And there's also like a white version of it too, but this is the Sith version. We got the new Rey, which is a really nice likeness and big upgrade from the previous Reys we have. So, in her new gear from the movie. Back there we got the Knight of Ren, which is one of Kylo Ren's cohorts there. So there's a couple other ones. This is the only one they've released so far, and like I said, no specific name for the character, just Knight of Ren. And moving on from the Vintage Collection to the 6-inch Black Series, we have the new Rey. Again, the likeness is really good on this. And Rey comes with Dio, which is the new droid in the movie. Pretty cool. Back there we got a new version of the First Order Stormtrooper. They kind of upgraded the articulation, especially in the elbows, because the original version, he couldn't really hold his gun well. So they fixed that and gave him some cool accessories there. We have a new Jawa with the soft goods cloak. And this is actually, I guess, going to be from The Mandalorian. It just looks like a regular Jawa, but I guess it's called the Off-World Jawa, so we'll see what that's about. Speaking of The Mandalorian, of course, we had to get the new Mandalorian figure, which is really cool. I cannot wait for the show. It looks really awesome. And that's probably my favorite of all the new figures. And then back here, we have The carbonized version is what they call it because it has more of a glossy look to it, kind of a metallic look of the Sith Trooper. And this was an Amazon exclusive that I ordered and got it. And just to show you an example, this was the original version that came out at San Diego Comic-Con, so you can see it's got a really cool paint job there with the metallic look. So anyways, that's my haul from Triple Force Friday. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys later.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.